And speaking now about the role of the recruiter and perhaps how we can pick their brains and improve our job hunt a little bit more, joined on the line now by Kameron Hutchinson, Director of Allsopp Allsopp Recruitment. And Kameron, we did just hear from Salwa. She's keeping positive. She's got a great attitude, clearly a really hard worker, very determined. That's half the battle, right?
Of course. And you know what, when you look at her CV and you hear her talk, she's clearly very passionate. She wants to work hard and she's obviously just waiting for that next role. But one thing that really spoke to me was how organised she was and just how much effort she puts into her job. Mm-hmm. I noticed from her most recent role that she broke it down into two parts. And actually, she seemed to speak more about the personal assistant, executive assistant side of things and actually helping, caring, supporting an individual. Maybe she could focus her CV and her job search efforts toward that, as that seems to be her passion.
And it really does. And that's, the energy side, but it also, working for a high-profile individual is no joke. As I said, when they're awake, you're awake. She was discreet enough to not mention any kind of crazy requests or riders, but I would imagine there are probably quite a few over the years. In terms of as you say, the organisation required in a role like that, it's staggering. And do you think, having seen her CV, Kameron, that there are any other positions you think could suit her?
Definitely. I think she's, as I said to you before, she's organised and she's used to working with high net worth, high profile individuals, especially in this part of the world. There are many of those types of people out there. The thing to bear in mind, though, is that there are a lot of applicants. On average, there's 200, in fact, applications per job. So you need to make sure that you stand out. How do you stand out? Probably direct your job search to be a little bit more specific. I think definitely there are some really good personal assistant and executive assistant roles out there, but I guess it would be interesting to see whether Salwa has directly approached those companies or if she's working directly with a recruiter that specialises in that area of the market, because when there is so many job applications or candidates, great candidates as well, a candidate's got to make themselves stand out. As I said to you before, her CV is in great shape, and perhaps a couple of amendments that I would be happy to share with Salwa on a consultation basis. But she's clearly got some great experience, but perhaps just not shining through, and that might be down to the fact that she's not approached the right recruiter, or maybe she's not approached recruiters. Vice versa, she might not have approached companies and only recruiters. I think actually sometimes job seekers can do a blanket approach, and of course we don't like mass mailing, we don't like cold calls, so actually to be more specific and target specific firms that maybe she actually quite likes or she believes in, she likes the brand, might be a good way for her to go.
I wanted to ask you a little bit about sales as well. As Salwa mentioned, her husband worked in sales, has been out of work for a number of years. Sales is tricky, but at the same time, companies need to sell and that needs salespeople. Are you able to offer some insights there on really standing out and what to do about a gap in your CV such as that?
I think definitely being honest about a gap in your CV. Employers don't like gaps in their CVs, in CVs generally, but I think actually if a candidate can be quite honest and actually show that they've been quite willing and active either to seek work or to take up other interests, whether or not that's philanthropic work or charity work or whatever, having a gap is okay so long as you've been doing something within that gap to fill the time.
And that could be anything, as you say, volunteering or even demonstrating you've been doing courses and learning in your chosen areas. Finally, Kameron, we were supposed to have another job seeker on air with us today, and in fact you were interested in him and learning more, but he's since found a new job, which is brilliant. And he did let you know, which is such a professional thing to do. Are you able to share some insights on why that is definitely what we all should be doing if we find ourselves in that situation?
First things first, the fact that the candidate followed up and said thank you, but no thank you, as much as it's gutting when you hear that, you have to be happy and you have to accept that sometimes you don't win them all, but for him to have found a position, absolute congratulations to him. As I said, the door would always be open, and so if for whatever reason it doesn't work out in the future, I would love to hear from him, even if in a few years when he's looking for his next move. Again, somebody that follows up, it says a lot about the person, and I definitely like working with people that do follow up, and I think that's the same with a lot of employers and a lot of recruiters as well. Integrity.
Cameron, before I let you go, I need to know your biggest fashion fail. I need you to flick back through the early photos of social media or even into your teenage years. Is there an outfit that haunts you and makes you cringe to this day?
Helen, I don't even have to go that far back, I'm ashamed to say. But yes, definitely.
Come on.
How honest can I be?
Describe it.
So around 5 years ago, when I first joined Allsopp Allsopp, I was perhaps a little less sharp on my suit game than I am now. I was in a morning meeting with around 100 staff in a questionable suit choice, shall we say. Brown suit, pink shirt and a green tie. I was actually pulled up by the managing director. Needless to say, that combination has never been worn again.
Thank you for your honesty. I trust all photos have been burned. You're a star, Cameron. Thank you so much for joining us. And you can learn more about Allsopp and Allsopp recruitment over on their website.